We will get straight to the Essendon coaching job because, Caro, as we found out today, the shortlist is becoming more evident.
It is, Sam, and that is because Ross Lyon has declared himself not a contender. You broke the story in The Age earlier today, and Ross has confirmed that on Triple M later on today. We propose to grill you about this in a moment. One hot rumour today was that Luke Beveridge was a target of the Essendon Football Club. This also came to the attention of the Western Bulldogs, who spoke to Luke Beveridge, who has assured them that he has not been contacted by Essendon, and if he is, he will not be leaving the Bulldogs. He's contracted for another year. The club's conducting a review at the moment, a small review.
So that's absolutely put to bed, Caro.
Well, that by the Bulldogs it has been, yes, and in fact they envisage a future with Luke Beveridge beyond next year, even though he's only contracted there at the moment. So that could become the story next year.
Ross, in your own words now, a few hours later, why did you not want to be coach of Essendon?
I wasn't offered the coaching position. I was certainly... Josh Marnie rang and I said he was really good. He explained what they were doing. They had all their ducks in a row and they had a process and a group that would get filtered out. I would come in at the second step and step through if I so desired. And there was a document to be sent through highlighting their process. There was something you had to sign away before you got to.
So there was a non-disclosure agreement, I'm told, for all the prospective coaches.
Yeah, and I understand why, because as a coach or prospective coach, I don't think it's a one-way interview. You need to go back and do your due diligence and ask about trades. And like for me personally, stuff, how many are in studying off field? What do they do? How active are they? What are your issues? And your salary cap, maybe, your space and your trade target. So a lot of that's sensitive and I certainly respect that, but it was a bit... And I just thought about it, and there's a head and the heart, and if you're not and I said vibing, and that's an admit, something bouncing at you and feeling. It just wasn't right for me to attempt to go through the process. So I got out of the way, and that's all good.
So where was your head though, Ross? Because I'm asking, were you looking too much into it in terms of the vibe and maybe second guessing that, maybe overthinking what other people may be thinking, rather than if your head says, I still have a passion to coach and I could be a quality coach, then I overlook that and go in and try and be the best man to win that process.
Yeah,
with the
possibly.
Yeah,
possibly.
I reckon you should have had a crack. Do you think he should have had a crack?
Well, if his head says, I still think I'll be a great AFL coach. I know Ross loves what he currently does. So if he has to ask himself, OK, do I want to go full-time into
no
that?
offence.
And look, I spoke to Tony Elshaw, and he's an Essendon man, and he spoke about... And he made a great point. It's not about the list, and I tend to agree with him. It's about getting the right people, create a way of being and doing, and results follow. So it's not about the list. Everyone goes to, where's the list at? I think if you get the right people in the right time, that's what Clarkson's doing at North, and you back yourself in to get it right. So, look, it's very...
Rob, what part of the vibe, though, what were you getting at in terms of where's the vibe that you didn't get a good feel for Essendon?
Well, it's just sometimes, how we're hardwired over evolutions and thousands a year, we have really sharp radars, and it's... the danger,
did you trust the process?
Danger or safety, and I just didn't go to... It just didn't feel right. And there's nothing wrong with that, does it? That's just a personal judgment, and if you don't feel... It's not even about going through the process. It's like ultimately they're still working through a lot there. And a fair bit come to me of Essendon people that have been in really strong positions and explained the club and the challenges of the club, and I still think they're working through that. I love what they're doing. I think the purge is necessary. I think they'll go through, and no one can challenge. But if you look at their history, anyone from the outside, and this is what's got to change, in my view, it doesn't make it right, but I think there might be some internal views that people have been there. Matty Knights from the outside didn't work. John Worsfold, even when they made finals, there was noises about John. And then Rutten. So it's like an organ transplant. After 2 years, you get rejected. So I think they've got to get a head around outside of Essendon coming through. That would be something that's been put to me, and I think when that's put to you, I think that's a reasonable assessment.
You're being extremely respectful. The flippant way of putting it is that, Caro, it's a bit of a shambles at Essendon at the moment. We know what's happened with the board. The new president's come out swinging. The CEO has gone when he's just had his contract extended. It's hard going to people like Ross and like Brad Scott, who I also think has pulled out of the race.
I'm not so
Can
sure
I just say,
about that.
I don't want anyone speaking for me on that. I'm not just being respectful. I think they're a great, powerful club. They
Yep.
need to be united. I like what they're doing. They've got their ducks in a row, and there's some great candidates out there. And in my email back, I said, you've got a great panel, you've got candidates. And as they say in the classics, everyone wants to see a powerful and united Essendon football club because it'll be great for football. Look what Carlton's done. Look what Collingwood's
Sam,
done.
every club who's changed coach has been a shambles.
Not quite like Essendon.
No, that's what Tony Elsher says. Anyone that's going to a new club to
How's was
coach.
North?
Yeah.
Do you reckon North were in a better position?
Well,
Well,
One
that's a
more.
very good comparison.
I know you've got a list of contenders. People at the highest echelons of the AFL think you should coach again. Really want you to coach again. I shouldn't speak for Gillan McLaughlin, but I've heard him say over the years that you must not end your career with Fremantle, you must coach again. And yet you've pulled out of this job. Is this the last one?
What?
Is this it?
That I've pulled? It's the only job that's there in the AFL, you know. Like,
No, but I mean...
deep down, it's like Malcolm Blight come back and, you know, look, at the end of the day, he was executed, wasn't he? And, you know, there was no process for his replacement. That guy was just put in. So, yeah, I think it's about each club to their own. You know, is there a right fit for me somewhere? Maybe. Who knows?
Let's have a look, now that Ross is out, let's have a look at the contenders that could still be Essendon's next coach. And these are the likes that you go to, Carol. I think Leon Cameron will be the next phone call. He's a man that's taken a team to a grand final, albeit his reputation here in Melbourne doesn't seem to what it could be for people with similar lists and records. Adam Uze seems to be the glowing contender for those who haven't coached before. Daniel Jean Siracusa is already there. He's the defensive coach. Jamie Graham got quite close in the race for Collingwood's job last year before Craig McRae got it. And then there's the great unknown, Caro, and that is James Hird.
And I'm not convinced that Brad Scott is completely out of the running. I'm not sure. Where you say he's been approached. I'm not sure what he said when he was approached, but I would not be surprised if Essendon had another crack at Brad Scott. That would be my understanding.
And what about...
It would be a big call for Brad, who's just been made head of football at the league, to take on that job with where Essendon's at the
It
moment.
would, but people who know Brad and are close to Brad and people who've worked with him like Jeff Walsh are adamant that he will coach again.
Yeah, and I think what appeals at North Melbourne were a smaller club and he worked wonders there, but... You know, coaching Anzac Day, you know, the Dreamtime game,
Yep.
the members and the resources, I think it could appeal to Brad.
I think Don Pike, you know, he's gone through a lot with what's happened with the Adelaide Crows, but he can genuinely coach Don Pike.
Yeah.
And he's another phone call that I think could be made and add that name potentially to the list if he wants it.
He can coach,
Yeah.
but then it's jumping in, the pressure, what happened to him in Adelaide. Essendon is just as ferocious, and probably that's what goes through the mind.
And he has made it clear to other clubs before, Caro, that he wants to stay in New South Wales.
And Mitch Cleary has, and he's got a good job offer from Sydney. But Mitch Cleary reporting that Andrew Welsh,
Yes.
former player, has been approached to become football director of the club. I don't really know why Essendon continues to go down this road of having ex-footballers on the board of footy director. I'll just leave it at that. But
Can
Jamie
I add a
Graham...
quote to that?
Yep.
Richard Collis, successful president of Sydney Swans. There's an inverse correlation between ex-footballers on your board and success.
A little bit harsh on Andrew Welsh, who hasn't actually been given the job yet, but we'll move on.
That's not aimed at Andrew Welsh.
No, I think you're right.